Okay, it's stage 129, and this is part two. And I thought I would do an all-time criticisms video, the biggest criticisms of George Webb, and just deal with it head on and talk about things in order of views and popularity. This is my most viewed one. It just frozen at 92,000 for 6 months now. So anyway, this was where I said Alpha Jalloh killed or was the wheelman for the Seth Rich murder. And I basically said and I put murder in quotes, and I said, if we get metadata on Seth Rich's murder, his phone, his computer, cameras, cameras going into the hospital, cameras walking down Georgia Avenue, etc., I am sure that it was Alpha Jalloh. And the reason was I said it was Alpha Jalloh is I'd gone for 4 days in a row, I think maybe 5 days in a row, to Lou's Bar and Grill, and they'd all described independently of each other this guy coming in just on that night. And then he would come in, this assistant manager would come in on these special nights, and it exactly matched, 5 different people exactly matched the description of Alpha Jalloh. So I said, given that, along with different reports that were sketchy, that Sorchafal and other people had said before this, that Alpha Jalloh had done it, and I just said, given the tie to the theft ring, the car theft ring, and Alpha Jalloh bringing cars down to Imran Awan and selling them at the car dealership, that I thought that was enough, because he was at the shootout when Imran is going in and out of the Capitol before and after the Seth Rich murder. That was enough for me to tie Alpha Jalloh from New York, the cars, to Washington, D.C. Plus he had gotten a lot of favoritism on his visas and so forth. I'll just play a short clip here where I say he's an FBI informant.
When you get greedy, you release them and you use them for your own political purposes. And that's exactly what happened here. You're going to find him, Alpha Jalloh, going to that same Pierpont address. I've got several footprints, and there's going to be more now that I've published his name. And you're going to find him going to the DNC.
And the part I didn't bank on was obviously the support, so much support for suppressing the camera information from the time he was at the Capitol for the 2 closures of the Capitol and also the shootout. None of that information has been released. It's all been suppressed so far.
Pointed out that Imran Awan had all these car sites, and he had this car dealership, and he had this car dealership down in Richmond, Virginia, that he was connected with the Awan brothers. He had this car dealership that failed in Falls Church, Virginia, that went bankrupt with his other brothers, and he was working with Hillary.
So anyway, you can watch that again, but I talk about the car theft ring being tied to Imran Awan very clearly. And look at what has happened later, 6 months later, maybe 7 months later. The Operation Cassandra has come public. The guy who was up in New York where Alpha Jalloh was getting off on all these different charges and so forth, the Maltz has come forward. And I think I'm pretty much completely vindicated on Alpha Jalloh being that guy that at least went through the motions that night. I don't think I've been proven wrong. This is the biggest knock on George Webb right here, is the Alpha Jalloh version, the video. Now here's a guy who did a kind of an analysis of me, and he's an investigator down in Miami, and he basically said, wow, this George Webb guy is a dope because he keeps giving away his location, and he's going to get killed if he does that. And I agree with that. He had made this comment about me being holed up in this Brooklyn hotel. Well, but the trade-off here is not doing this and not forcing the hand of the people like Joe Pasilico over in Brooklyn, the mobster guy. It's not forcing the hand of all the people who are bringing the folks in to do to integrate and infiltrate New York State government and New York City government. So it doesn't catalyze anything, to borrow a term from Harold Ickes of the DNC. You sometimes have to risk getting killed. So at this video, everyone says I was completely afraid. I'll play it for you so you can see the demeanor I have.
Okay, day 219. Just had a call with Jason Goodman, and he's wondering, hey, you're supposed to come pick me up so we go see Jerome Corsi. So I'm trying to get there via the Russian consulate over there. So Johnny B's coming over to pick me up. So I said, man, balls of steel. And, it's probably a 5% chance, but I got to be careful at this point with the two, the SEIU guy and the linebacker in the elevator. And all I need to do is just get to the other side of the river, and I'm just taking a little bit of precautions. Now, I may as well drop some additional stuff. The New York Film Academy scholarships that anyway, the guy said in the last video.
It's Priscillico, yeah.
Priscillico?
Priscillico.
His name is. The film scholarships, again, it's not a deal where you try to quietly get people in, the ISI folks. You actually turn it around and make it a big deal. You bring people into the 92nd Street Y, you have a cello and a violin, and you talk about, the book they just wrote, which has been ghost-written by somebody over in Foggy Bottom. You get donations, so you have enough chutzpah to ask for donations, and then when that's over with, you bring them into the country as an art scholar. So that's the cover.
Anyway, that's the big knock there. I was so nervous. Again, I don't think I was nervous at all. I was trying to get out the last bits of information because they had chained the door, and then the first 5 floors were Navy, all Navy, because it was Navy Week in Brooklyn. And then there was these 2 guys that had the keys, somehow the janitor, that I'd seen check in as guests the day before, these 2 SCIU Tonys. And literally the elevator was the size of a phone booth. So, and then the last one here is, first of all, before I say anything about Jason, I just want to say what a tremendous filmmaker he is and what a great interviewer he is. I keep watching these interviews, and he just has that. I think of a lot of things simultaneously and try to make connections. Jason really has this talent of keeping things on track and in a linear way, and just really kind of summarizes at key points along the way, and I just really want to compliment him on that. And I like Jason. I love Jason. I think every once in a while things do get confusing and you forget who's on your side and who's not on your side. It is kind of a tough environment for him and for me. So I appreciate sometimes when maybe your paranoia gets to you when you're in these kind of situations. But having said all that, the big knock on me is I said, oh, Mossad. Basically in this thing, he said, I said in the interview, I think I have the hand of old Mossad on my shoulder, which I still do believe at that time when I had my encrypted mail. I still believe I did have the hand of old Mossad on my shoulder, the old guard, the Avi Braverman guard, the same people that got Eric Braverman out of the country. I still believe that, and I still believe he was in Tel Aviv, and I still believe that's why you haven't seen Eric Braverman. I think he's doing teleconferences from Tel Aviv, running 5 different foundations. Basically, they just split the Clinton Global Initiative into 5 different companies, and they're just named 5 different people, along with Rajiv Shah running the Rockefeller Foundation. So nothing's really changed. They've just split it out. Now, what's changed is it's not going through Ira Magaziner's hands anymore. Mr. Quarterweight Drugs, Mr. Quarterweight Unitaid Drugs. So that's good. But anyway, that's the big knock. Oh, yeah, that I said Mossad was helping me. I truly still believe that. I truly still believe that. And I truly still believe that I was very fortunate to meet Jason and have a bigger platform to tell my story. I mean, I still go back and look at this today. The interview is
well, George, it's been almost 1 month.
Well, it's not going to play here, but I wanted to talk about the Mossad part where I go into the Mike Kempner's Mossad and Mossad Worldwide and all that sort of thing. And I still believe that. I still believe that the Hillary faction, along with the Debbie Wasserman Schultz faction, just took it.
And then I call Eric Braverman the Powerball, because that's pick 6, Wiki 6. I think that both Seth Rich and Braverman go to WikiLeaks. Now, Braverman goes to Ratner first. Ratner dies. Then Seth, that's cut off for Seth Rich.
Right.
So then he goes to Jones and then Gavin McFadden. Trump is learning how to play the game. He's getting away from the knee-jerk tweets, and he's starting to put out little leaks. Hey, 44,000 emails, 11,000 or 17,000 attachments.
Did Trump put that out?
Well, all these are covert actions. I mean, it's
okay. So anyway, I'll leave it there. So much for George Webb, the George Webb knocks. I still don't think I would change a word. I still don't think I'd change a word.